Med Viaplay får du streaming af tusindvis af film, hele sæsoner af serier og sport i verdensklasse. Fra 79 kroner per måned. Prøv 30 dage for 0 kroner uden binding. Viaplay. TV, sport og film online.
Velkommen til Filmz TV. Tidligere på ugen bragte vi den første del af vores todelte interview med den Oscar-belønnede lyddesigner Richard King. King talte primært om, hvordan han kom ind i branchen, om sin egen kreative proces, mens vi her i del 2 vil komme nærmere ind på nogle af de store film, som King har arbejdet på. Og vi lægger ud med War of the Worlds, Steven Spielbergs ofte undervurderede sci-fi-katastrofefilm, hvor i menneskeheden angribes af rumvæsner, der har ligget begravet under jorden. Et af de mest mindeværdige elementer i filmen er netop den gruopvækkende lyd, som rumvæsnerne laver, før de går til angreb med deres frygtindgydende kæmpe maskiner.
I got hired to do the show, and I met Spielberg. I went to the set and talked to him, and he said, it's got to sound like, and he did this, he made the sound vocally, ooh la, or something like that. And he said, it's got to sound like that with a pitch change. And so he had it in his mind. He was fairly specific on what he wanted. And I tried for months to get that sound, and he'd rejected every one. And finally, I got a didgeridoo, and I got somebody who could play a didgeridoo, who was working with me, and he played a long note, and I was able to, in Pro Tools, do the pitch shift. I overdrove it through a factory PA emulator. So as if it was playing too loud over a crappy metal PA horn, and that was the sound that he was after, and that was the sound that he loved and embraced. And it was the problem was the sounds I had sent earlier were too pure, too musical almost. These things are threatening, and they're also they're like big metal, like half tracks, or they're like old machinery in a way that's been on the ground for maybe millions of years, and it's finally come up, and so it just overdriving that sound, intentionally distorting that sound, gave it that intensity that he was after.
So you know about him?
Of course. Do you think he's coming back?
I don't know.
The whole notion is this is happening in the real, recognizable world, that Gotham is a stand-in for New York City, and it's obvious. He doesn't hide that fact, really. It should be a world that we recognize, and that's the strength of the Batman myth, that it could happen. Somebody could be doing this, and in fact it sparked a whole bunch of people in the States who dress up in costumes and fight crime. I think his aesthetic on these last two films has become more gritty and just tangible, like it's the real world that we can all relate to. It's not a mythical place. It's not a movie place. It's a real world. He's a glimpse into a real world he's showing us. Operatic music is definitely part of it. He's straddling the line between real world grit, like a la Heat or something like that, Michael Mann, with this huge operatic scope of the three movies. It's a very complete world within these three movies. And the arc is fantastic, from from the mythical sort of beginning of Batman Begins to the very emotional and to the trilogy. It's remarkable.
What are you? I'm Gotham's reckoning.
He's wearing a mask, and yet you want the voice to be intelligible, and you don't want to feel like this mask is. It's always there, but you don't want it to. You don't want him to always be sounding like this. So, the idea was to understand what he's saying, but his voice is unique and different. The performance is all Tom Hardy, and the recordings are primarily from the set. So it's not a whole lot of fiddling that we did. I think people will be really happy with it, though, and I think as much as beloved as a character as the Joker is, I think Bane will become as beloved. He's completely different, on a completely different wavelength than the Joker. You couldn't imagine them in the same room, but he is an incredible presence, and Chris has created another fantastic villain. I wish there would be a fourth one, because we.
I know you delved into this also during the seminar, but I'd just love to hear briefly, like, how is Christopher Nolan to work with?
Is he going to see this?
I don't think so.
He is fantastic. I really enjoy working with him. He's extremely challenging, and it's not fun if it's not challenging. He doesn't take the simple route. He works as hard or harder than everybody else on the movie, so you feel like you're a slacker if you're not pulling your weight. I think it brings out the best that everybody involved can give, because they can see that he's giving his best. So it's inspiring to work with somebody like that. And frankly, I've been really lucky with all the directors I've worked with. They're all, have their own unique aesthetic and are totally focused on refining that. And Chris is incredibly intelligent and challenging and inspiring. He's a great person to work for.
There's one thing you should know about me. I specialize in a very specific type of security. Subconscious security.
You're talking about dreams.
Til slut faldt snakken på Christopher Nolans Inception, og eftersom vi kort kom ind på filmens slutning, skal vi naturligvis lige advare mod spoilers.
There's a definite scheme to the sound design as far as dream levels. It's subtle, but it's the sort of thing that I think that people feel, and we wanted to give, especially in the first reel of the movie, you don't really have your bearings yet. You don't know where you are. So we wanted to subtly introduce changes in the different levels so that you could start to get into that sense of what each level felt like, and what the so you could get your bearings, and and as the movie developed, know where you are, because it becomes important that you know where you are. It's not so important in the very beginning, but it becomes important that you know where you are. So there was a lot of discussion and a lot of experimentation, and we developed a plan of how to differentiate between the worlds in a subtle, non-invasive, non-obvious way.
Is DiCaprio still stuck in the dream world at the end?
What do you think?
I don't think so. No, I think he's out in the real world. Yeah, but what I love about that ending is it doesn't matter at all if it's one or the other. It's totally up for your interpretation, and it's
well, Chris never told me what it was, so it's only my interpretation too. And my interpretation is that the thing topples over just after the cut.
Yeah,
just after the cut, it topples over.
Yeah,
I put in one little wobble just before the cut, so that's hopefully a clue that maybe it topples over. But I think clearly he made that cut at that spot because he wanted there to be some room for interpretation. Yeah.
Det var alt for denne gang på Filmz TV, men vi er snart tilbage igen, så hold endelig øje med Filmz forsiden. På gensyn. Husk, at du kan finde alle vores tidligere Filmz TV-udsendelser på Filmz under Filmz TV-fanebladet, og også på video.dk, i iTunes og via vores gratis video-app.